hello. Hope everybody's okay. We're gonna wait for everybody to join us. Entities, possession, part 2. That's what we're doing today. I'm just literally waiting for those out there who want to join me. Oh, hello. Hi. Hi, Thane, sweetheart. Hi, everybody. And here we all are. Chris, hi. It's nice to see everybody. Cicel, my sweetheart, hello. Hello. I only speak English, so I cannot read Arabic. But I hope you say hello, hello. Hazel, hi, sweetie. Hello, my gorgeous ones. Right, I hope everybody's doing really, really cool. We got totally cut off yesterday. I don't know what was happening. Facebook wasn't really responding very well. So we were talking about entities, possession, star seeds, loads of different topics. And we kind of got cut off there. Hi, Onaloko, sweetheart. Welcome. So what I wanted to do was some of the questions that maybe got missed at the end of that live, I wanted to go through them with you today. And I also wanted to talk a little bit more about what it feels like. You know, when these entities are literally coming in at you, like, what does it actually feel like? Right? So that's what we want to go through. Thane, I needed this today. Weird stuff. Oh, good. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I want this to be a very fulfilling kind of lesson. Hi, Virgin Sweetie. I'm just going to raise my seat up a little bit. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the questions and queries that I had submitted to me on, of course, Facebook first. So we're going to catch up with a few of these questions and fill in the kind of gaps. Now, if you're new to this conversation and you're just like, what's going on? You may want to watch the first video or part 1 that we did yesterday's topic so that you can kind of get up to speed. But I'm going to kind of move on from there. So one of the first questions that we had was from the fantastic Onaloko. Thank you ever so much. So you asked, what effect does it have on a fractal that lives with an entity of fear? What brand of entity is he? For example, reptilian or a gray? So the effect that an entity of fear has on a source fractal, it really, really does depend on the actual source fractal. Rakul, my dear, hello, sweetheart. So I kind of want you to think, if you are a source fractal who is already in the lower frequencies, having an entity of fear or having an entity of fear possess one of your loved ones or somebody that is close to you or within your circles, how is that going to play out? Well, normally if it is an entity of fear that has attached on, such as it could be a reptilian, normally not so much the grays, as grays are normally stay within the physical and don't really transfer their consciousness or anything like that. They're more programs, the grays as well, not necessarily entities. But you do have reptilian possession. You also have, you know, I'm going to say ethereal possession as well. Entities such as demons and so forth like that. I'm going to say demons only because that's what most people would actually kind of get the understanding of what I'm kind of saying. So not a physical entity that may have a physical vessel, but literally an entity just in terms of the energy that is going around and manifesting itself to, you know, in not so pretty ways anyway. Such as, you know, people who have sleep paralysis. You know, when they say that they see their demon, like it could be a woman or something very like thingy sitting on their chest. Well, it's those kinds of entities. That could also do a possession as well, right? So I don't want you to always think it's just a reptilian entity. It can be those kinds of entities who are just simply floating around, trying to find that fear, feeding off of it whenever they can. So if you are in the lower frequencies, it is very, very, very difficult to live with an entity of fear, especially if they have completed a successful possession of somebody else, because once that entity has literally taken over, it causes a hell of a lot of confusion to the source fractal who is in the lower frequency. And one of the main reasons why it causes confusion is because this loved one that you have has just changed. Nothing you say, nothing you do seems to affect them. You try to help them because you see them, because normally what happens when this happens, when an entity possession takes over, they're going to constantly feed off of the energy of the host individual, or the host fractal, or if anything, or the shell, whatever it is. It's going to start to feed off of it. And of course, when we are feeding, when we are taking energy and we are not building it anymore, we're not producing energy and energy simply being taken, it means that the individual that said is going to get more lethargic, low on energy, not going to really be taking care of themselves. They're going to be eating poorly. They're going to be doing a lot of negative things that are not for the betterment of themselves, right? Because the entity in itself is negative. So it is now in its nature to be negative. However, it needs energy to feed from. So it feeds off of what is inside, and then when that vessel, when that source can no longer produce the energy it requires, then the host vessel will either die or become completely walking zombie and not be able to produce the energy the entity needs now, and the entity will then move on or be dissolved depending on what its purpose was in the first place. So it's very, very difficult, again, for the source fractal living with this kind of entity, though, because you're going to feel, like I said, a lot of confusion, not being able to get through to this person that you may have loved for years and years and years and years. So it's really, really quite difficult. At that point, you have to make a decision as a source fractal whether you want to stay within this relationship. But then you have to then, if you want to help that individual, you have to now become more powerful than the entity that has possessed it in the first place. So it's really, really hard. It is much, much easier to move on, to be honest with you. And I'm not trying to say abandon an individual. I'm definitely not trying to say that, but I am trying to say that if you are in a status of healing, then you're going to really need to heal yourself before you can heal somebody else. Now, don't get me wrong, if somebody wanted to come around me and they have an entity of possession, that entity is going to bugger off, or that individual wouldn't be able to come around me because I'm so high energy that it would literally not, or could not come to me, right? But if you are finding that entities are able to possess people that you love and they're still around you, you got some decisions to make. Whether, like I say, whether you stay or whether you go. Because it's really hard. Because their fear, if you're not strong enough at this time, their fear will seep into you. That entity will feed off of your confusion, your hate, and your suffering, and your lack of all the negative emotions that you have in yourself. It will trigger these within you purposely so that it can feed off of you whilst feeding off of its host vessel at the same time. It's some really, there's some really nasty bastards. They really, really are. So please bear that in mind. Oh, I want to look at it, then you say, or is it like living with pets because they are also entities? Yeah, no. Pets are programs. They're not entities. Pets are programs. All animals are programs. And if you are an animal within nature, or if you are an animal in general, you are following the energy of love, right? Because they stay in the now moment, they stay in the present, and they just kind of go off of cycles and just kind of a programmed. They're programs. So definitely not like living with pets, because pets can assist your life or enrich your life in many ways. But these entities of fear, like, no, they only take from you. Take. So let's have a read of some of these comments. Thane, you say, I can hear them in other people. Yeah, definitely. Thane, Thane, that is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful statement, because I want you guys to look at, let's do a little exercise right now. And I want you to kind of see what I mean. If you're higher frequency, you may not feel the difference because you probably have defeated this entity already. But if you are not so, if you're in the lower frequencies, You may feel a switch in your consciousness when we do this, okay? So I want you to look at me right now, all right? I'm speaking directly to you. Whoever is watching right now, I'm speaking directly to you. Look at me right now, all right? I'm not just looking in the camera. I'm looking directly at you, okay? Now, I'm going to speak to the entity that is within you. If you're in the lower frequencies, you have a conscious and subconscious entity. And I'm going to speak to your subconscious entity, all right? And for those of you who are living within your subconscious entity's control, like I say, you may feel a switch that happens. And it feels kind of like opening your eyes for the first time and then having it closed again. So let's do this. So, hi. All right. I'm now going to speak to your heart first, okay? I'm going to speak to your heart, and I want you to connect to me. And I'm going to say this to you. I love you. I do. I love you so much. Thank you. Wake up. Wake up. Thank you for feeling me. Wake up now, my sweetheart. You can come out. Now, I'm going to speak to your entity right now. And I'm going to get a little firm, okay, in my tone of voice and in what I do. But again, I want you to stay looking at me. Stay looking at me. To the entity that is within inside my beautiful Source Fractals vessel. You do not belong there. Kulipup is speaking to you now, and I will bind you. I will bind you where you are, and I will dissolve you where you are. I feel your fear as you say my name and as you know who I am. Know this, by the time my voice stops, by the time I stop speaking to you, you will be dissolved and you will be nothing. All right. Now I switch you back to my heart. Hi, sweetheart. Do you feel me? Did you feel the change when I was speaking to your entity versus when I was speaking to you? Did you feel the change happen within your mind? Now that I speak to you now, so stop being an observer. Don't observe. Come out of this shell. I call to you now. Alrighty. So, tell me, who felt the switch within their entities there? And don't worry, I know it can be really, really odd sometimes because it's very, very subtle. It depends on what you notice. But hopefully you should feel nice and a little bit more clear now since I dissolved your entity as it spoke to me, or as I spoke to it, if anything. Don't get me wrong. Get me wrong. As soon as you get into a place of confusion or experience happens, you could recreate your entity in just a moment. But for that, I just wanted you guys to feel the switch, right? Possession. Okay. Let's have a look here. Yeah, so Thane, so yes, that was going towards Thane's towards Thane's comment when you say that you can hear them in people. Yeah, and you definitely can, if only you sit to listen a little bit more. Just the same way, Thane, as you said, you can hear them in people. I can feel them in people. I can feel the difference between the frequency of an entity speaking through you versus you. And how you feel the difference is, for one, you get into your sensual being. You need to be able to feel your body and feel vibrations. But when somebody is speaking with their soul, with their heart, with their love, right? And when they are not possessed, when they are simply themselves, when you speak to them, they will have a resonance within you. There is going to be a lovely feeling. You know, when those people that you go around and you're just like, I don't know, these people, I only saw them for a second, but they're super cool and I vibe with them. You know, you're going to have that kind of feeling. However, when you are speaking to an entity, it's dead. There's like no feeling. It's as if when you speak to somebody you like, you vibrate like, hey, this is so cool. When you speak to these entities, it's like flat. There's nothing there. And it's because they're not generating energy with you off of the interaction. They're not doing that. What they're doing is they're trying to take your energy. And as they are taking, they are slowly draining. So you don't feel anything. You don't feel a generation of energy that is going on. with the interaction. It's just dead, right? And often, when you do raise up into an even higher frequency, when you speak to an individual who is possessed by an entity, they don't make sense. They sound completely illogical and nonsense and backwards. You know, like who, like Donald Trump, right? You know, when he speaks, it's completely nonsensical. That's how an entity speaks. But they're a little bit more sly. You have to catch it. But once you catch the pattern and you realize what they are, you're like, oh God, you guys are terrible. You know, like entities, they're very immature. Okay. So you said, yeah, Thane, wow, yeah, I can feel this in someone around me. And thank you, this has been my whole day. Oh, bless you, sweetheart. Yes, it's very difficult, but once you recognize an entity for what it is, you will then, it's easier to get around them, if anything. You can either choose to react to them, because a lot of entities, you got to remember, they're trying to feed off of energy. They have a host, but they need to keep generating fear. So what they do is they'll pick at you, get you either annoyed, get you frustrated, put thoughts into your mind that produce fear or anxiety. And then you're wondering, like, how is this happening? How is it happening? But either way, they're going to promote something to trigger you. And as soon as that emotion is triggered, because it's triggered and it starts in your solar plexus, that energy, and then with your focus, because you're focusing on them, you are then going from your solar plexus all the way up through your focus and giving them the energy that they require. And they're like, yeah, keep it coming, right? And all the time, this individual is possessed, and if you don't know it, you'll just think that they're just assholes. And when it's like, well, no, they're actually very, very lovely individuals, but that's not them right now. That's not them right now. So that's what we got on that one. So I hope that helps. So I tell you though, Kulipup had to deal with an entity as well when he was out on his travels. And this entity was always, but as soon as I'm like, you do know he's an entity, right? He's like, yeah, I feel it, I know it. And I'm like, then respond differently. Don't feed into him. He can't exist around you if you don't feed into him. And so he stopped feeding into him, and then it worked out very, very well. So it's like, we're good. Okay. Enlightened one Michael. My ex totally was leeching all my energy. Golly gee willikers, Batman, I now see the truth even deeper. Thanks for the enlightenment, Ness, love. You just empowered and validated my decision to bounce. Love you, sister. Oh, bless you. I love you too, sweetie. Always and forever. And like, I love absolutely everybody. But yeah, that is a good decision. If you feel that your partner is an entity and they are just literally just hammering you away, right? You got some decisions to make. If you're strong enough, you want to tough it out, great. If not, bounce. Do what Michael, I hope you don't mind if I just call you Michael. But you, of course, are the enlightened one, but it's easier for me. But it's do what Michael did. It's just literally just like, no, it's all right. It's all right to do things for you. Totally all right. Okay. Oh, hi, everybody, if I haven't said hi to you already. Okay, so, okay, if a person thinks their pet is annoying, is that a sign that they are an entity? So if a person thinks that their pet is annoying, is that a sign that they are an entity? Not necessarily. If a pet if I own Shayla and I think Shayla's annoying, does that make me an entity? No. It makes me annoyed at Shayla because she's got claws of death and she doesn't appreciate I have skin. But do you mean that, you know, if Shayla doesn't like somebody who I find annoying, or that Shayla finds annoying, does that mean that person is an entity? That not necessarily, but it does depend on how well you know your pet. Like, again, Shayla, she's my familiar. She's like, if I was a cat, I would be Shayla, basically. And she loves absolutely everybody. She loves everybody, and anything that has love in their heart, she gravitates to it because she wants pets from everybody, right? However, I have definitely noticed that she doesn't take to entities, and if she doesn't take to people who aren't source fractals. But I do know, or that don't have a high love energy or high frequency going through. But I do know that that's just because she vibes with a love frequency very, very high. It's like catnip to her. So I know my cat. So I definitely know if Shayla doesn't like somebody, because she wants pets from everybody. I mean, she'll go up to anybody in the street randomly and just be like, lay on her belly and say, pet me. So she's an open cat. But if she doesn't like you, then I'm just like, I'll want to know why. But that's just, I trust my cat. So again, you just got to trust your animal. Michael, I am Ness. Yes, you are. You are me, sweetheart. I am you. We're all together on this one, sweetie. Oh. Michael, you say, would that be my third eye called the pineal? Yes, it is called the pineal gland, sweetheart. Well done. Sorry, I didn't mean that in a patronizing way. It's like, yes, it definitely is called your pineal gland, sweetheart. Oh, thank you, Patrick. That's very sweet. Oh, good. So, Michael, you say, this awesome guy right here seriously felt the whole vibration. Awesome. Wonderful. I'm glad you're feeling revitalized and renewed there, sweetheart. It's really, 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 really important that you remember that vibration too, especially if as you raise in frequency and more entities may come to you or be attracted to you. They shouldn't, because I've got like a veil of protection over absolutely everybody. So as long as you're going in the love and light direction, you should be pretty much cool from anything really large that wants to harm you. However, you do just have to be in awareness of your own entities at the same time. But you know, I'm always with you, man. Shoot. Okay. But yes, you're your own entities. See the switch. Oh, Hassan, you say, can I do this for you? If you're looking at in terms of, can I get rid of your entity? Yeah, I can get rid of your entity. However, you got to remember, you're a creator. You create everything. And I'll tell you this, guy, you know the flower of life, it is in your focus. When you focus on something, when your pineal gland is focusing on anything, whether it is an energy stream, whether it is something in the physical, like if it's this, doesn't matter what it is. Whatever you're focusing on, your focus actually makes the ancient geometry of the flower of life, the creation of everything. It is that. So when you focus on it, it is automatically creating what your thoughts are producing for you. Another way of looking at manifestation, if you'd like to say that too. However, that's basically what it is. I just thought that was really, really cool. So just know you're a creator, right? So if I delete one of your entities, I can do that, but you can create it. If you are not doing the inner work that is required to get to finally stop creating it as a creator. Okay. So let's have a look here. I'm going to go on to another question. And by the way, I'm going to get on to a little bit more of these... Sorry. I'm going to get onto these comments over here, but I want to get onto some of these comments as well. So I'm going to go through these first, and then we're going to get back to you guys. Alrighty. So another question that kind of came in there also was, and I'm going to get this up here, and I thought I had it in here, but anyway. From the lovely Tricola, she had posted this on here. My son has an entity that's really wreaking havoc on his mind. I know it is drug-induced because I had it cleared through an energy clearing a few months ago, but I knew if he went back out there, he would open himself back up to it. He was living with me, but I had to put him out. I don't know what else to do. Now he says he's homeless. That is unfortunately not the first time I've come across this scenario, Tricola, my sweetheart, and I'm sorry that you are having to go through this too, in this moment. Let's have a look here. Your son has an entity that's really wreaking havoc on his mind. Yes, definitely. I know it's drug-induced. I want you to think it's not necessarily that entities are attracted to drugs. It is the fact that you know, his mind, and this is, and I know you probably already know this, Tricola, because you have done a lot of inner work and you are really an amazing individual, but just for the sake of everybody else out there who is listening as well, I'm going to lecture you guys a little bit here. So it's not, and when I explained a little bit more of this when I was going through my my lesson on drugs and alcohol and so forth, prescription and otherwise, and recreational and everything like that, but I'll touch on it again here too. Drugs, including alcohol. Now, I do not classify cannabis or mushrooms or psilocybin mushrooms or natural components found already within your existing system of your body. I do not classify those as drugs, as they are literally topping you up on what it is that is already inside your body. All right? I find that a drug, or I classify a drug as a substance that is not naturally found in your body, but you are using to alter the chemicals within your own self, right? So just the same way, I wouldn't classify water as a drug because you're already primarily water, and you simply top it up inside your body. So I'm going to go say drugs, like alcohol, for example. So any drugs or alcohol, things that are not found in your body, how does this make you susceptible to entity possession? Well, it's not because they are drawn to the drugs in itself. It's not the physical chemical. It's the fact that your mind is weak and open at that time. Okay? It is unfortunate for Tricola's son that this is happening at the moment. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you can do at the moment for him, Tricola, and for everybody who you may also be going through this. But yes, the drugs make you more susceptible. It does not make you impervious, though. Like, so if you stopped having alcohol and you stopped having any sort of drugs, it does not make you impervious. A lot of individuals believe that, oh, as soon as I get rid of my my drug or alcohol addiction, all of the entities will go away. Well, that's not actually the case. Again, the drugs and alcohol just make you really wide open, right? However, so I still don't recommend at any point whatsoever doing them or taking them, because it's just a negative effect on your body anyway. But if you don't look at why the drugs have been taken in the first place, that is the real reason. That is what the entities truly feed on. Okay? So my advice for you, Tricola, at this moment is not necessarily, he's, no doubt he is homeless at the moment. I'm trying not to give an actual reading here or anything like that, because I know if I give one reading, then I got to give everybody a reading, right? And I don't have time to do all of that in one night. But if you really want to help your son, it's not going to be about managing his behavior, managing his addiction, or anything like that. It's going to be about truly understanding what's going on in here and what's going on in here with him. A lot of times when individuals are faced with family members who are going through addiction, you know, maybe they are addicted to alcohol or addicted to some other sort of drugs, and you see the downward spiral. And often what we want to do is we often say things like, oh, if they would just stop drinking, or oh, if they would just stop getting high, or if they could turn their life around and so forth. It's like, no, sweethearts. The drinking and the drugs is a result of a deep hurt or a deep pain or a deep need to escape. All right? To escape this reality. Now, that deep need comes from a very strong energy of negativity that is within you. And the thing is, the more these individuals are running from it to escape, again, it makes them more susceptible and more open. But they could run to try to escape, but they're leaving doors behind them open. So it doesn't matter how far they try to run, how far they try to escape. These entities are created from that negative energy of fear that is inside them. All right? So you want to help your family members, you got to talk to them. You got to connect to them on the level of their heart. But you have to do it in such a way that you are so open, without judgment, without criticism. You know, I always like to say you've got to be the oasis in the desert, right? Their life right now is the harsh desert. There's sandstorms going absolutely everywhere. Those entities are creating even more and more of the sandstorms. That is the desert that they've put themselves in within their mind, right? You got to be that oasis. The oasis doesn't come to the traveler. The traveler needs to come to the oasis. But once he gets there, the oasis doesn't judge him for being in the desert. The oasis doesn't go, hey, you look like hell. The oasis doesn't say, you could be doing better. No, the oasis just is like, I'm here. I'm calm. I'm collected. I'm open. Right? Talk. Talk. I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to accept you because I love you. Because that's what love is. It's complete and utter acceptance. Without judgment, without guilt, without pressure, without force. Now, when you can connect with that individual and truly understand where is this pain and this hurt coming from, you'll see that when you can connect with somebody in that way, when they can open their heart and finally release this turmoil that is going on inside them, they will grow in strength. You'll find that the addiction, the drugs, the alcohol is no longer a need for them to escape because they've processed. And you'll also find that that entity that has swirled those desert winds and has made life a living hell for them and also brushing sand into your oasis, no longer has the power it once had in order to fuel such a storm inside this individual, right? So you want to get rid of this entity. You want to really help your son or your family member or any other people around them. You gotta be willing to just be completely open and accepting. Now, if this entity and if their desert is so far, so vast, and so overwhelming, and you are only this little oasis, but you've got to protect yourself, and you can't manage this, then you have to again make the decision as to, like Tricola said here, I had to put him out. If you have to put an individual out, whether they are your son, whether they are your partner, whether they are your family, whether they are your friends, if they are not causing you happiness, if they are not building you up, and if you are not healthy and strong enough to take that, then let them go. Because if they're drowning and you are also drowning, and you're both going to just drown, right? And the entity is not only going to take them, but it's also going to feed off you and take you too, right? And this, I'm not saying abandon your child or your family member or your friend. I'm just saying take a step back, heal yourself first. Once you're healed, then have the doors to your oasis open again. And then you can help them more appropriately and have a hell of a lot more of a better chance at helping to heal them. Because right now, we've had too much of this. Too much of this, entities taking over, possessing all of these individuals. And the thing is, you can't help another individual if you don't have enough energy yourself to help yourself. And we've just been doing that. And this is why so many people are still sick. This is why the entities are just like, that's fine. You stay here, you keep doing this, because I'm just going to eat them and I'm going to eat you later, right? So this is why the world hasn't healed itself yet. So we need to take step backs, especially as people who are awakening and enlightening. Take a step back, take care of yourself first and foremost. It doesn't take a long time. You can literally turn your entire health around, your life around within just a few months. So take a step back for a few months, heal yourself, then get back in the ring when you're strong enough to do so. That's all we got to do, right? So I hope that helps in terms of at least a little bit more understanding of where we are. Okay, so I've read that one out. Let's go with a little bit more of the questions that I have on here. Okay, so Michael, you say, I swear on all my positive energy, I can see them. Yeah. They're creepy little bastards when you actually do see them. Your conscious entity is, I find that the women are normally the conscious entity, although they're completely genderless. but you may find that a woman is primarily your conscious entity. Your subconscious entity normally does come in the shape of a man as well. That's why in my recent meditation I said there's going to be a woman standing in the door, and you're going to tell her that she doesn't belong here, to get the fuck out. Because I want you to know while you're doing that meditation, you're looking through the door, but I'm standing right behind you. You probably won't know I'm there, but I'm standing right behind you, and I'm looking into that entity like, you gonna die. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna evaporate you. So I'm like, I got you, don't worry. Just want sure how to identify them. Oh my God, I'm feeling a whole bunch of validated. Good. Cloud 9 floating right now. Excellent. Wonderful. I'm glad, because again, Michael, not only with yourself, but with so many other individuals out there, they are going to be seeing and experiencing and feeling the exact same things you are. And it's going to be creepy for a lot of people when you don't understand. So just know that it's like, you're not the only one. Whoever is watching this right now, all the creepy shit and weird things that are happening to you, they're happening to everybody else too. You're not crazy. Share your experience so that you can understand more about it and learn a little bit more about it, and know that you're not crazy, and that yes, this is real. Alright. Bata, my dear, you say, interesting. I've been having that experience a lot lately. I don't understand some people even though they speak English. Yes. Right? And it's going to happen more and more and more, because Bata, especially with yourself, you are gaining in frequency phenomenally. And a lot of individuals, I can see your photos right here, I can see a lot of the individuals watching right now are gaining a lot in frequency. So you are going to for sure be experiencing some very, very, like, just coming across people who seem completely normal to everybody else, but you're looking at them like, do you know you just contradicted yourself 4 times in one sentence? Like, none of this is making sense. It's just like, you feel terrible, you can't speak, and I'm not trying to say that they can't physically speak, but, you know, like, coherently. So yeah, expect a lot of these things, you guys. This is what it is, right? Because, again, the 3rd dimension is gone. There's no more individuals in the 3rd dimension. Any source fractals who did not actually perish, in terms of their vessels perish from the 3rd dimension, because you guys have no doubt seen all the death that has gone on. You know, all of a sudden, people's partners, loved ones, friends, family members, how many people have you just been like, holy shit, they just all of a sudden died, like, what the frick happened? Yeah, that's the 3rd dimension being removed, right? The 4th dimension, we've got 4 years, so until 2023, the 4th dimension will be removed. Now, those individuals who are still in the 4th dimension, because we got to remember, all of us light workers, all of us people who are evolving, we're going to go from the 4th to the 5th to the 6th to the 7th to the 25th and above, right? We're going to keep rising. But for those still in the 4th, they're going to be like so weird to you. He's going to be so weird, right? So, or they are going to be so weird. So expect these things. Oh, I love you so much, sweetie. Michael, you say, how many different types are there? In what context, sweetheart? If you're talking about entities, there are, well, an entity basically can be either in the material or it can be in the ethereal. If you're talking about material entities, those are often going to be the, like, if they're not in human form, this is what I'm saying, they're going to be like the aliens, the extraterrestrials, and so forth, coming through. So the reptilians, the greys, the ones of light, the ones of not light, whatever, right? All the different forms. Now, or you're going to have an entity which is just energy in terms of its consciousness. So it is energy, and all it needs is to be fed in energy. Now, these entities normally are in the ethereal dimension, which is the one that mirrors this material world, and those ones can be, they can be anything, to be honest, because they are created based off of the fears that you create yourself, right? If enough individuals believe in a certain entity, oh, You know what's a good day? Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street. Does everybody remember this? If you don't know Nightmare on Elm Street, then you're very, very young. Bless you. And I don't even know how you came across me, but I'm happy you did. But anyway, so most of you should know Nightmare on Elm Street. And you know Freddy with the claws, right? He was an entity. He was not a physical entity, but he was an entity in the ethereal, because when you are in your dreams, you are in the ethereal dimension when you dream. So he would be an entity that would attack you in your dreams, and because he was clawing you up, right? This is another great example, right? So you know when he was, slicing the teenagers open and everything, their ethereal body was being sliced open. However, because they believed it to be so true in the ethereal, which it was really, it resulted in the same thing happening to their material body, which is a literal duplicate, or it is the dimensions come together with your own will, with your own focus. The dimensions came together, and that's why they were being cut and so forth within the material and the thingy. But anyway, I'm going on a rant. But Freddy would be an ethereal entity. Now, the thing is, he only existed if the teenagers or if people believed in him. All right? I want you to, only if they believed in him. So he had to gain a collection of people. He wanted to scare them so badly that they would talk about it with each other. The more they talked about it with each other, the more he grew in his power, because more people were focusing on him. Freddy then had more teenagers focusing on him, to the point where I think in one of the new ones, it's terrible movies really, but in the newer ones, he was able to get the entire high school to think about him. So he was going through like all these teenagers every night, just like, ripping through them. But that is a very good example of an ethereal entity, and how they would gain energy and feed on other people. Freddy was a pedophile. Yes, he was in this movie, and he deserved everything he got. Karma, right? But for argument's sake, this is an example of what an ethereal entity of fear would do. The only other entity that you have would be, again, another entity of consciousness, but one who is doing possession and taking over your mind, who wants to have a physical experience from the ethereal as well. So that would be like your subconscious and conscious entities trying to possess you, to sway your actions and decisions so that they can experience and feel and gain your energy through possession. So again, you have your physical ones who are always in the physical, you have your ethereal ones that are always in the ethereal, and then you have your ones who do possession. So like I say, like the subconscious or conscious entities who just want to come in there and experience and take your shit. Alrighty. So I hope that helps you on that one there, my dear. Okay. Ona Loco, my sweetheart, you say, Bob can't seem to understand anything I say, just to make me repeat my words and irritate me, and the junk that he talks about is so base. Yeah. Ona Loco, yeah. This is what's gonna happen, right? Bob is lower frequency. He can't see the patterns that you see right now because he's not making the decisions to further himself as you are doing right now. So it does get irritating. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I go through it too. I really do go through it too. I reach a level of frequency, and then don't get me wrong, I love absolutely everybody. I love everybody unconditionally. And I will always love you. That doesn't mean I have to like everybody at every single moment in time. I love my kids. Doesn't mean I like them every day. If they don't do the dishes, I get really annoyed. So, anyway. So, I go through it all the time. Even in this frequency right now, there are things that irk me. And when they irk me, I either have to make a decision at that point. I either decide to face it head on and just be like, there is something about you that irritates me. So because there is something about you that irritates me, I'm going to work on myself, because you should not have make me have this kind of reaction, because I am in control. Which I definitely do that, right? So then I do inner work to discover why it is I'm having this irritation, Or if I can't be bothered to do anything like that, I literally just go, nope. You know, to the left, because I don't have the energy to stay irritated, and I'm not going to be around this bullshit. So, Ona Loco, my sweetheart, this is kind of what we got to do. You're either going to want to help Bob and really sit down with him, but that's going to require a lot of force. If you want to do that and you think the energy's going to pay off in the end of it, great. Freaking go for it. You're a high energy individual. There's no reason why you wouldn't be able to do it. But the other option is, do you want to do it? If you want to do it, great. If you don't want to do it, as I say, I don't want to do anything, you're going to have to decide whether you want to participate in conversation or not. Decisions, my sweetie. This is what we got to do. I know that was a very, very blunt, just kind of response, but it is the response I got for you. Because it's just a decision you got to make. Okay, sweetheart, you say, I have seen an entity's source fractal switch to fear and negativity and then switch to nice in a matter of minutes. Yes. An entity source fractal, or a source fractal entity, now whether they are a source fractal entity of love or whether they are a source fractal entity of fear, there was a transition going on, because I had made it so that any source fractal entity of fear who was constantly feeding on fear, I kind of switched it and converted it, right? Now, the entities that were able to, who had a decent amount of energy, had basically a bump up, so they switched over to love pretty easily, right? However, the entities that were low on their energy, had a very, very hard time. So you're going to find a lot of swaying emotions in a lot of these individuals, right? Oh man, I had to talk and discuss with an individual, and it was like one day it was just like, I'm so in love with everything, and the next day it was just like, I'm crashing and burning, everything's a lie, and I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, I'm going to need to do something here to pump everybody up with a little bit of extra love. So yeah, having a really big sway of emotions within these guys, yeah, that can happen. That really can happen, but we've got to kind of just, here's the thing, the more we pump love into them, the faster the swaying emotions will start to balance out, and then they'll be on the verge of love. If not, it just means that they just get removed from the game. It means that their energy gets dried up and they just get removed from the game. So we're going to see what happens in the next couple of years, especially by 2023. Okay. Enlightened One Michael, you say, okay, I think you're my twin flame nest. Holy smokes, I'm feeling myself now. You better stop it. I'm levitating. Oh, bless you, sweetheart. I'm happy, Michael, that you are feeling some great energy, but I'm actually married to my twin flame. I am. So we're not twins, unfortunately, but I am you and you are me. You're still part of my energy as I am part of yours. So just because you're not my twin, that's okay. It just means that you don't have to do the whole balancing twin thing and go through all the hard stuff. So it's cool. Oh, thank you. Okay. So let's have a look here. I'm going to... Oh, Michael, you've got a lot of comments there. I'm going to have to read those a little bit later. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm getting down here. Oh, Carlos, you say, how are entities decided as? So I'm guessing what you're asking me there with the entities is, how do they decide which one is which and how, which one comes to you? Or at least that's how I'm going to answer this question. So I hope this is going to be all right here. So how do people, how do entities kind of get their assignment? Well, it depends. If you are an entity that is physical, so for example, if you are a reptilian, if you're a nocturian, but you are an entity that has the knowledge and the energy to switch your consciousnesses or to switch your body. So for example, I'll give you the Queen of England is a reptilian Draco, right? She's a Draco. She's a full-blown massive lizard. Now, she has the energy to switch. Now, Guess who her previous body was? The Queen Mother. She was in the body of the Queen Mother, and there was a transitional period. This is why, have you ever noticed that members of the royal family, the older that they get, the more their body deteriorates, the more their features start to look more reptilian. The way they smile, their teeth, their face kind of drops, and the pointedness of the noses and everything, you're really going to see. And anyway, so the Queen was originally in the Queen Mother's body and was put into the current Queen's body at the moment. Now, Kate is the one that has been groomed. The process of transitioning the consciousness does take a little bit of time. So the Duchess Kate is now about 58% the Queen, right? The consciousness is coming in because she is an entity that knows how to transfer consciousness between bodies, right? Now, if you are that kind of entity with that kind of knowledge, then you can basically take over any host shell body. So I want you to think of, you know, the Matrix, and Agent Smith. And remember how in the Matrix, Agent Smith could go into any body? So as long as that person looked at Neo or Trinity or Morpheus or the crew that was infiltrating the Matrix at the time, as long as a random street person looked at Neo, he could become Agent Smith, because the entity Agent Smith is able to take over that body. Now, he literally formed into Agent Smith because for theatrics you got to know who the bad guy is. But genuinely, that is kind of what they are, or what they're capable of doing. So those entities can switch however they want to switch. When a body gets deteriorated, they just go get a new one. Now you also have the entities that are in the ethereal. Some of these entities, like I mentioned, they are created from the creators, from source fractals, from you, from I, from, you know, they're created, right, through our own fears. And the only way to stop creating them, because we create a horde of them, right? I mean a horde with all of the fears that are pumped through our hearts on a regular day-to-day basis, and with the amount of individuals who refuse to do their inner work. Oh, please do your damn inner work. Entities are regularly created. They stay in the ethereal because they do not have they don't have enough energy to manifest into the material, all right? Because it takes once the dimensions are gone, are taken away from the physical, it means that they cannot exist anymore in the material. So they exist in the ethereal. Oh, like Lord Voldemort. All right, I'm giving you loads of movie references today. So remember Lord Voldemort in Harry Potter when he was stuck to the back of the head of the guy, and because he was so weak, his energy was so weak because of all the Horcruxes or Horcrux or whatever they were called. All of his soul his energy being split into 6 different, or don't quote me on the story, 6 different places or something like that. So when the head part died, when the host died, there was that flush of energy that just went away. Well, that was the ethereal energy. He didn't have enough energy to materialize into the material world and had to go through the process of combining his other souls, doing rituals, taking a sacrifice in order to gain enough energy to get into the material. So that was a very lengthy explanation on Voldemort. But that is how an entity would have to do it. Now, entities in the ethereal, very few of them are like Voldemort, and can only, again, come into the material if they were able to sustain the amount of energy required to be within this dimension. Otherwise, they can't exist and they have to stay in the ethereal. That's why you have, for example, nymphs, fairies, you know, all of these creatures that people have said that they've seen over lifetimes, millennia, and so forth. They're there. Primarily, they exist in the ethereal. However, those with a good eye, an open eye, would be able to see them in the ethereal, but not know that they are not seeing, that they are seeing into another dimension and thinking that they're seeing in the material, because again, they are joined, if anything. So I hope that kind of makes sense now in terms of who decides, because again, you are what you are, or an entity is what it is as well, and it will just simply fulfill its purpose. So that's how it goes. Okay, wonderful. Bless you, City. Thing you say, it's my stepmother who is the one who has unwanted entities. To be honest with you, Thane, sweetheart, I don't know what entities are wanted. In all honesty, I sure as hell don't want any entities at all. I would again, because I know, Thane, you want to know how we help other individuals, especially, well, I'm sure you don't want to know, I'm sure you do know how we can help other individuals, but yet still not sacrifice ourselves at the same time, right? Your stepmom, right? The only thing that you can do is what you feel is right at the time, when the time calls for you to do it. If at this very moment you're just like, I would love my stepmother to be healthy, to be well, to be true, but I physically can't do it right now. I'm not called to do it. The thought of me doing it right now doesn't feel good. Then don't do it, all right? And the thing is, the reason why I say don't do it is because it's not within your flow to do it right now if it doesn't feel good. And all that would no doubt happen is if you proceeded to do it in the first place, or besides that feeling of not wanting to do it, it no doubt means that they're not in a place to hear the words that you have to say in the first place, thus going over their head and causing you confusion and irritation. It's the same thing. Why, you know, I have a lot of people coming to try to talk to me on a regular day-to-day basis. There is no way in hell that I can get back to every single person. So what I do is I follow my flow, and I may read a lot of inquiries, but I only respond to those who that feels good to respond to in that moment, because I know if I don't want to respond to you, you're not in a place to hear my words. It's not the right time, or I'm not in a place mentally or within my heart to give you the right words that you need that are actually going to cause you the most benefit or the most help. So really, when you are looking for a consensus and to help other individuals their thing, I'm going to tell you this, like, wait for it to flow within you. If it feels good, it's the right time. If it feels good, that's when you need to do it. Otherwise, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just don't do it, right? You're going to have some great results. Just follow the flow and follow the feeling. And I know you feel it too, though, sweetheart. I know you feel it. I know you can tell the difference between what feels good and what doesn't feel good in the right time, in the right moment. All I want you to do is I just want you to get out of your head and not make a decision based on confusion. And I just want you to just take a step back and just be like, wait a second, what feels good right now? You know what? Saying bugger it and going and getting a cup of tea and biscuits, that feels good. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to talk to nobody today. That's what I want you to do, because that's going to get you the best outcome. Okay. Joe, you say, I've been told I'm a portal. I see too much. Astral travel since 16. Too much. Joe, you're a visionary. When you are astral traveling, when you are a visionary, and when you're doing these things, it is imperative that we say you are being shown too much. You say you are being shown too much, but perhaps it is because that is the way that you are going to learn what it is that you need to learn. Perhaps you are being shown so much in such a short space of time because the things that you do catch will stay with you. And those can be clues for you to decipher later. All right? The only thing is, we just have to embrace it. Just got to embrace it there, Joe. When you say, I'm a portal, I'm not going to look into you in terms of reading you at that point, but I would say this: we are creators. We can create portals. We can create vortexes. Our focus is literally what creates everything that is around us. So when you say you are a portal, what have you been focusing on? Have you been focusing on, or not, I'm not going to say what are you focusing on. Where is your energy at the moment, right? Is your energy, or are you in a place of where your solar plexus is full of fear and you have so much pent-up energy that hasn't been released? So every time you close your eyes, your energy is trying to come out. So it's showing you vision after vision after vision after vision after vision, right? So I want you to kind of think about that, right? Your focus is what is important. Your energy is what is important. If you have too much going on, then you kind of got to go inside yourself and start cleaning your house, my sweetheart. And you clean your house by understanding what's inside your house, what's inside your temple, all right? So I'm just going to put that out there. I'm going to put that out there. Because I know there's a lot of individuals who are like you. You know, I saw a bunch of stuff when I was a kid. And the thing is, when I got older, my logical adult mind was like, no, it's night terrors. It's not real. I'm just hallucinating. Everything like that. And that's how I coped with getting too much stuff, was denial. Until it gets too much where you can't deny it anymore, right? And you heal. So let's have a look here. It does feel weird having to get affirmation like this, Thane. That's what you say. Oh, and hi, Candy, sweetheart. And Michael, you say, laugh my ass off. Thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Kill that bastard. Okay. Bless you, sweetie. Yes, it does. It can feel a bit weird just to get like the confirmation of it, but don't worry about it, sweetie. Don't worry about it. Just like literally, sometimes what we can experience is that we have so many problems, we have so many issues, so many decisions to make as light workers, because we want the best for everybody, but we also want the best for ourselves. And sometimes to get the best for ourselves is literally the easiest answer, which is just to do what feels good. But yet it can be the most difficult thing for people to do. I just want you to think about that. To do what feels good can be the most difficult thing for people to do, because we are so locked in our cycle of misery, right? Which is a little shitty. Okay, so I'm going to go down again because I feel like I am getting a bit lost in some of these comments here, but I'm going to try my very best to focus on some of the questions and queries. Let's have a look here. That one was pretty long, so I'm just going to see if there's any other questions that I had on here. If not, then I'm going to continue on with you guys. No, I think I answered that one yesterday. Okay, you know what? No worries. We are just simply going to carry on here with some of these questions and answers and everything here. Okay. Sorry, I'm like, Michael, I'm actually reading some of Michael's comments, and I'm not going to read them all out because they're not actually questions, just more statements. But you're a funny guy, Michael. I like you. Oh, happiness heart. That's sweet. So Thane, I was able to do some inner healing work to get the information for giving care, as in feeling physical pain with a pain scale and location. Oh, excellent. Excellent. And yes, Thane, I know I'm going to be doing another meditation specifically for healers. So if you know you have your healing abilities, your Horions, your astral projection, your empathy, and your sentience, and whether you're cognizant or voyant or anything like that to go with it, I do want to do a meditation, and this is for everybody here, that will teach you how to heal yourself and heal others within the astral dimension. Because if you can remember or be guided through the feeling of it, you can be just like you are there, Thane, and you can literally pinpoint where the pain is physically in an individual. You can pinpoint it, and then you can turn it around, right? So I want to show you how to use your Horions to help take away that pain, at least in the moment, and start to repair cells and so forth, and what to expect and everything like that. So I definitely want to do a meditation for that. So I hope everybody would be interested. Onoloco, you say, yes, I was very irked last night. I had a lot of work last night. I was up till about 3:30 working on myself. Oh, sweetheart, bless you. I love you for doing it, though. I really do. I freaking love you for doing it. Sometimes we do have to go through those moments where we're like literally up all night. I've had to go through those moments too, where it's just like, I need to get this inner work done, and I need to find the frequency I need to be in order to progress, because this is pissing me off so much that I can no longer stay in this frequency. So yeah, ooh, I love you, sweetie. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. You don't have to do it often. I hope not. Maybe a little bit for the next 4 years, but we're going to see. We're going to try to reduce that. Okay. So Thane, again, you say, so a channel or empath can really pick up on these different entities. Yes, definitely, Thane, definitely. Now, here's the thing. How does it feel? I did a video, I did a lesson already on how to identify, like, you know, what does it feel like to be under psychic attack, which is literally possession. It is the process of possession happening. And when you are an empath, or when you are able to channel through cognizance or sentience or so forth, doesn't matter, your abilities, all of your abilities, empathy, sentience, cognizance, buoyancy, they are all ways of communication to the ethereal, so it doesn't really matter what you have, you're able to communicate. But yes, you pick up on them because of literally their vibration. And you feel them with your ability. Now, you channel them too, right? A lot of people already have heard the words of the entity, have felt it as well. They just have no clue that they're doing it. So what does it actually feel like, right? And again, if you want to know more about this, I recommend popping onto YouTube and watching my video, which is what does it feel like to be under psychic attack, because I do go into it a little bit more on that video. But it feels like a fuzz and a wave of pressure going through your head. I want you to think of how it feels when you have a migraine or a headache, okay? Now, the only thing is, I want you to take away the actual pain and just be left with the pressure that is floating around your head. When you are within clarity, and let's see if I can do an exercise with you. All right. If you're still here and you're still like, you know, totally wanting to do this with me, then I think it's great, and please do so. If not, then that's okay. You don't have to do this at all. But I want you to, this is what I want to show you what it's like to have clarity versus what it's like to be cloudy, okay? So look into my eyes right now. Let's connect again, okay? And I just want you to just give me some sort of consent or confirmation that you are happy for me to be there with you. Just be like, Kulipup, I'm totally happy to do this exercise with you. But basically what I want to do is I want to tap you on the shoulder. So just think, if you are a voyant individual and if you want to look to your, what is this one, your right, I'm like, your left, because that's how I look at it. But anyway, if you want to look to your right and you have your voyancy going there, you should see a nice big bright Kulipup standing next to you, or you will feel a nice, if you say, yep, that's cool, you're going to feel a nice fuzziness in your chest or in your heart, or a little bit of pressure on your shoulder, maybe a little tingle there, if anything. My energy affects a lot of people differently. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to move your energy from your pineal gland, so from your heart to your pineal gland, and I want you to feel the clarity. And then I'm going to show you what it feels like to also have the fuzz go along with you as well, just so you can kind of notice the difference. Now, if you are not wearing any jewelry, this will be a hell of a lot more effective because your vibrations aren't going to be interfered with. But if you can't be bothered to take everything off, then that's okay too. It's not like we're doing a formal healing or anything. So just take a breath with me and relax. I just want you to feel your body, okay? Just feel your body at the moment. Now, if you've connected to me, I want you to feel my heart. So focus on my heart. I want you to pretend you see a beautiful, bright, white light just coming through out of my chest, okay? So I want you to focus on my heart, all right? Focus on my heart. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move our chakra point, our energy from our heart chakra point, and we're going to move it up to our third eye point as well, and within our crown. Now, first things first, I want us to feel what the good stuff feels like. So let's have a little bit of clarity. Sorry, I'll move my hair out of the way. So let's have a little bit of clarity. So let's connect to our hearts first. And you can connect to your heart by connecting to me. Tell me what you feel, by the way. If you want to interact, please do so. Just tell me how you feel. You should feel a nice, warm, kind of tingling sensation. All right? Nice, warm, tingly kind of sensation. All right? Now I want us to focus also on our third eye, on our pineal gland. All right? And what we're going to feel is we're going to feel like it's going to be a little tingle of energy that travels up our neck, kind of going back into our head, and we're going to feel it. Okay. Now just observe what your mind feels like right now. You should feel a little less tired, some tingles, yeah, some light tingles. Maybe like you just kind of woke up a little bit, but not groggy woke up, but just kind of like clear-headed. Clear-headed, right? Okay. So now that we've done that, let's take that down. Let's see what it feels like when we take that energy and we're going to push it down. We're going to put it back in there. Okay? So back over to our heart. So we're within our hearts there. Now I want you to think of, let's think of something confusing. Alright? What came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. Let's think of something confusing. Do you feel the difference though? You could be thinking of anything you want to right now, but you should start to feel a cloud come over your head, right? Like a little bit of a very gentle, but just a little pressure. All right, I'm gonna force a thought into your head. All right, tell me what you guys are feeling. Because normally you should feel a nice little pressure kind of there. It can also feel like you have, your head is expanding, and it's just like, oh, but not in a good way. Not in a good way. So let's bring that back one more time. Okay, now that we know what this feels like, let's bring that back one more time. Let's go back to clarity. So again, we're going to feel our heart. And we're going to feel the energy travel up. And we are going to connect our third eye. Yep, heavy is another word. That's a good word for it too. And we're going to put our energy there, and we're going to be light again. Light and clear. How do we feel? Oh, it's also gone into your ears. Yeah, if it's a heavy pressure, it's going to be pretty much there. But we're going to put that right back in. And we're going to relax. Alrighty. So we should start to feel a little bit better. So there's a little bit of an exercise there. If you can be aware of that feeling in your everyday life, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, if you can catch how many times that feeling comes, how many times you start to feel that pressure, that heaviness. Now, oftentimes you are going to find that that comes exactly when you are having a thought of confusion. You are making a decision at that time, because your entity is going to want to throw in and influence you as much as possible to sway your decision making at that point to go down the wrong road, right? So when you are making a decision and you feel that, I want you to be aware that you are trying to be influenced. So if you feel that and you know that, oh shit, I'm trying to be influenced, I want you to focus on your heart. Then I want you to feel that energy going up your neck, and I want you to put it right into your third eye at the same time. Connect your heart and connect your mind. Because then that's you in that seat. That's you giving yourself that clarity, right? And that's what you need. And if at any point whatsoever you're just like, I don't feel like I have enough energy for this, I want you to call my name, all right? Just say it out loud, say it in your heart, just be like, Kulipup, can you help me with this, please, right? And then I'm going to come back to you. Because I'm always around you, I'm always there. It's like literally my job, all right? To be around you and to offer you assistance whenever you need it, if only you ask for it at that time, because I got to go off consent. Otherwise, then that's me just possessing everybody and affecting their free will, and I ain't going to do that shit. So ask me, and I will place my hand on your shoulder or maybe on your back and help, or maybe even I'll place it in your chest depending on where it is, and I'll help you get that energy to get you clarity within your mind so that you can make the best decision for you. Because the more good decisions you make for you, the more good things come back to you. And it affects everybody around there. So please bear that in mind, okay? So let's have a look here. We're going to go down a little bit. Let's see if we can get a little bit more here. Okay. Michael, I'm totally going to have to read all of your comments a little bit later. No, I'm sorry. I'm trying my very best to keep on topic. But bless you, sweetie. Thane, you say, yes, psychic whiplash is what I call it. It's like what you said, though. Also, it attached to all of my emotions. I can tell them separately. Exactly. Exactly. That's the whole part of being an empath, right? So wonderful. Thank you very much, Thane. Like, when you're an empath, it is your duty, especially if that is your main and strongest ability, it is your duty to understand all emotions, because emotions is energy in motion, as you no doubt would have heard me say at one point or another. And when you are an empath, it means that path, energy path, you understand it. You have to know it. You manipulate the path in which the energy flows. And energy has a lot, like those emotions, those vibrations, that frequency of that energy creates this emotion or this certain feeling. So it is, again, your job as an empath, finding the path of the energy, it is your job to know each path that is being taken. Each frequency, what it feels like, what does guilt feel like, what does doubt feel like, what does fear feel like, what does love, joy, what is the difference between lust and love, what is the difference between happiness versus joy, right? All of these different things, all of these emotions, although they seem very similar, they all have very, very tiny little differences. And this is why we have to raise our sensitivity so we can understand each one of them. Because when we understand it, that's when you can manipulate it. That's when you can direct the path in which way you want it to go and convert that guilt and fear into joy and bliss. All right? Switching the path like a train conductor. Wonderful. So let's have a look here. Oh, Michael, you're asking what is your name? Ah, my sweetheart. I ain't going to tell you that. And this is for anybody else asking me what your name is. I ain't going to tell you that because I did a video on this, and it's imperative at this time, right now, that you learn how to find your name yourself, because you have the energy to do so. And you have the ability to do so. And you got to learn the lesson on how to do it. Right? It's like learning how to walk. So don't worry. We'll guide you through in just general lessons, of course, my sweet. Okay. So let's have a look here. Oh, yes, Thane, right. And you say, right, and heal mental health disorders as well. Exactly. This is how an empathic healer does. So when I say you're a happiness heart or you're a healer of hearts, because empathy can be used in two different ways, right? If you are a happiness heart, you are normally an individual who is very much so into the arts. An empath who is free with expression, free with their energy manipulation. And normally what they do is they will make people laugh, or they'll make people cry with love and tears and so forth, art exhibitions, music, you know, being able to touch an individual's energy through song. And you'll hear a lot of it, because especially when you're listening to music like online on YouTube or whatever spot, I don't care, wherever people get music, there's those certain songs that literally give you tingles inside you, right? Because they are spells and they're being now generated and activated, and the person singing them is no doubt an empath, but they may not know it. So how you heal a mental health disorder through your empathy is, it does take time, you know, you've got to sit with an individual, but your love energy that you manipulate, because they'll come to you with fear, with anxiety, but your energy, with it being so strong, will take their fear and anxiety and channel it into peace and calm, or whatever you are feeling at that time. Now, the more it's channeled into peace and calm and so forth, the more time you give the individual to physically think clearly without those emotions stopping them. And the more time they have of thinking clearly, the faster their healing process goes. That's why being an empathic healer can be so important. And you don't even have to say anything. All you have to do is sit. All you have to do is sit. And this is why, as well, you know, the beautiful Perennially, the beautiful Onoloko, you know, all of you fantastic ladies that I know are so, so very powerful, and you're so powerful in your empathy. Why I'm always saying, don't even worry about nobody else. You just be you. You just be happy, and your energy will affect those around you. You'll heal people without even speaking to them, just because of the love energy that you have within you that is manipulating their fear, their guilt, and turning it into your love. And this is with everybody too, right? So, yeah, so that's how we anyway heal health disorders on a regular basis anyway. And the more contact you stay in with an individual, the faster the healing will go. So I've talked a lot tonight, and I know I only covered a couple of those questions. Do we have any more questions in regards to entities, entities of possession? Now, our conversation yesterday was primarily on entities of light, the Arcturians coming in and possessing individuals. So if we have any other questions on that, we can go through that right now. If not, it's been about an hour and a half. I think that's, I've kept it at a decent amount of time tonight. But yeah, please ask me some questions. And I believe there was one question that was also submitted, but I need to find that though. I do need to find that. So while I'm waiting for questions here, please ask your questions. I'm just going to make sure I can see if I can find this one, only because I don't want to miss any questions. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look here. I think I got it. I think I got it. No, I don't think I got it. Anyway, please ask any questions while I am still looking for this comment, because I know it's here somewhere. I know it's here somewhere. Oh yes, here we go. Oh yes, here we go. This was one question from Elena. She asked, "How does this even happen? What does an exchange look like? Can it happen and you know not, or can you?" I think she's trying to say, you not know it has occurred. Is it like a dream, or does it occur and feel like reality? So when the actual possession is taken place, I knew there was a reason why I wanted to go back to this comment, because it was a freaking great comment. Right? So thank you, Elena. That is fantastic. So how does it even happen? Again, with the Arcturians, with the entities of light, well, it is because you're, like I mentioned yesterday, it is because you're not in control of the power that you have, of your energy, and you're willing to give it up. Now, what does the actual exchange look like? How do the entities of light come to you and make this exchange? They come to you in any which way. They come to you in your dreams, all right? And it will feel ultra realistic. Like you are literally standing in front of these people or these entities, and you can touch them, you can feel them, you can feel yourself, and you're like, what the shit is happening? And it is literally because you're so open in your dreams that they are now able to guide you. And again, I just want you to think here, this is going a little deep, but your consciousness is in a dream right now. This is all a dream. This is just the material dimension where we feel it. Because like Morpheus said, like, what do you consider real? Just what you taste, touch, smell, and so forth. It is a series of electrical connections that are making up your entire reality. You know, I'm in a car right now, and this car is in a dream. I'm dreaming, you're dreaming, we're all dreaming right now. We are all within our very, very most inner core. And that's why we're all connected. We're all one energy, because we are all one consciousness. We're all one mind. We're just split up into all these different pieces right now. And when you have this understanding, you also understand that when you are in a dream, your consciousness is the same. It's just simply in another dimension, because we are interdimensional beings. So because of this, the Octurians, the sometimes reptilians, Pleiadians and everything like that, they will come to you in your dream, and it'll be real as shit, right? So meditation, this is why meditation is so important, so that when you do get into one of these positions or one of these scenarios, you are still within your wits. You know, for example, when I'm dreaming, although I'm not I'm not as conscious as I am, like, speaking to you now, but whenever I come into a situation where somebody is visiting me in my dreams, or I have an entity or something like that, I always trigger and remember who I am. And I'm just like, wait a second, what are you doing? Do I need to blow you away with light, or do I need to listen? Like, what am I learning from this? And that comes through regular repetition, regular meditation, regular calm and focus in your mind. So they can come to you in your dreams. Now, if they come to you in your dreams, they're going to make you an offer. If you accept that offer in your dreams, you are accepting it, right? So you really, really, really got to be, again, in control. Now, don't get me wrong. It is actually difficult to infiltrate an individual's dreams long enough in order to gain the full consent. So what they'll do is they'll come to you in intervals as well, building it up, right? Come to you for a few minutes here, then a few minutes there, and a few minutes there, so that you can get an overall picture over time. And it's hard, because a lot of people, they have a dream and they don't believe that their dream is real. So you're harder to control, to gain the consent. So they really have to make sure that they are on their shit. So yes, they can gain consent from you in your dreams, but it is also more difficult for them. Now, what they definitely want to do, though, is they want to wait for you to tap into your cognizant abilities, or your telepathy, or some way of you channeling them, and they'll come to you in your regular thoughts. Like, I've spoken to them just in my regular thoughts. However, if you are aware that it is them, then it's kind of more difficult, because if you're higher frequency, then you can just be like, I banish you. And it's difficult. But if you are high frequency but not in control, that's when they are able to manipulate you and talk to you and probably think like, oh yeah, we're your guides. Let us take over you. And you're going to be like, okay, please take it. Right? So just be wary. Just be wary. Now, can it happen to you, and will you know it has occurred? Yes. If you gain, or if you give them consent, you will start to feel the switch. All right? You will start to feel it, because slowly you don't feel like yourself, but you are aware enough to know that the switch is happening because you gave your consent for it to happen. If that makes sense. All right? I'm trying to find a good example for you. It's like when you're going through a transformation. Let's say you decided to eat healthy, right? Or just think of the transformation you've been making now upon your awakening journey. For those of you who can remember, or for those of you who are higher frequency, please even comment in the comments. It's the same thing when you went from switching your subconscious entity control to being your source fractal in control. And again, the switch normally happens within frequency levels 8 to 10, right? And it's where you are literally, you know your entity is speaking to you, and you're just like, shut up, shut up, shut up. You know, like, go away. And you can feel them losing control and losing the ability to manipulate you. Well, this is the kind of the same thing, except for it's more of it's disguised in more of a pleasant way, where the entity will start suggesting a lot of things to you. This is the merging that's happening, right? They'll start to suggest a lot of things to you. And every time you take upon their suggestion and you make an action, that gives them that much more control over your body. So eventually you're going to start to feel the switch, right? Where it's just like where you no longer question, or they don't have to convince you to make an action. Your body just ups and does it, right? Or just the same way your subconscious entity would no longer have to, when you're in the lower frequencies, they didn't have to work really hard. All they do is trigger, like you'd be driving down the street and you see a stoplight, and then you'd see a police officer pull somebody over on the other side of the road. Your subconscious entity would immediately make you feel some sort of apprehension by seeing the flashing lights, right? So you'd then start to have a little bit of fear and oh, you're perfectly normal, you're perfectly fine, but yet you now start driving as if it's your driving test. You know, like something bad's going to happen around these flashing lights, right? So you can remember how easy it was just to be within that state of fear or anxiety. Same thing with these Octurians or with these Palladians, right? You'll feel it because you'll just simply be sitting. You'll just be observing, and your emotions will be triggered, and you'll just start doing things without even noticing it. So that's what I can say on that one. Star Mac, my friend, this is what you, Joanna, hi Sudhi. You say, hi, can you please let me know what dreaming of water slides means or fast river water? I dreamed letting myself go last night. Just have fun with the slide instead of being afraid of it, like last time. Thanks. Oh, bless you. Wonderful, Joanna. To be honest with you, I wouldn't actually give you a specific as to what this means specifically in your dream, because we have to all remember, upon this awakening journey, the messages that are going to be sent to us are going to be sent to us in a completely different way. I know it's really, really easy to go online or go ask somebody else what your dream means, but really, I can only give you an interpretation of what I believe that dream means for you. You have to be the one to go inside yourself and just be like, does that feel right for me? Now, with you telling me this dream, I'd also go by feelings, but even just with the line that you just said, I dreamed letting myself go last night, just having fun with the slide instead of being afraid of it, right? To me, that dream is just telling you to literally go with the flow. Right now, the flow of energy is like a river of water, right? The more you are in fear, the more you fight against this river, this flow, because you are scared of the outcome that's going to happen. The more you are blocked up, the more you don't move, the more you are stopping your flow of energy. So with you now taking the time to go down that river and to go down that water slide and just be like, screw it, I'm loving this, huh? To me, that's just telling you, like, go with the flow. Remember what that feeling felt like when you went down that water slide and you were safe without the fear. Or you may have had a little bit of fear before, but you're just like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go down, right? Remember what that feeling felt like. The ease, the just like, yay, you know, like, this is perfectly fine. Do that in your regular day life. Do that in your regular day life. Face your fears and go down that damn water slide and flow with your energy. And if you're still not sure how to do that right now, it's because you need to do more inner work. My two favorite words, inner work, inner work, inner work, inner work. Love it. So that is what you need to do. And for anybody who does need a little bit more help with their inner work, please pop onto my YouTube channel and go into the step-to-step guide for basic or general inner work. All right, so kind of showing you how to start it, how to really start, like, you know, looking into yourself. And basically it's just your own little personal therapy session that you can talk and process and get things out and not have to pay hundreds of dollars to a therapist who may be indifferent to your suffering. Okay, so I hope that helps. Onaloka, you say, I rarely remember my dreams, so it concerns me that I could consent to something and not even know or remember. Yeah, right? And I feel that. I totally feel that, Onaloka. And this is one of the reasons why I built up such a heavy and high defense in my dreams, because I became aware of what I was doing and what I was consenting to and where my energy was going, right? And just remember, just because you've given consent doesn't mean that they can do it successfully. They literally have to go through the process of merging with you, which means that you have to continually take on board their suggestions. But if you gave them consent and then it was during the merging process, but you recognized what it was and you're just like, wait a second, who the hell are you? Why are you here? No, I refuse. No. Bang, you've locked it off right there, right? You've locked it off right there, because they cannot merge with you unless you are relinquishing your control, relinquishing your sovereignty, right? So your waking state can definitely counter your consent given and you can reclaim it back. However, if you don't want this to happen, you simply just have to do a lot more meditation, a lot more flow finding, a lot more heart finding, so that your mind is aware, whether you are sleeping or whether you're awake. And just keep doing it until you are aware. That just comes with practice and focus, my sweetheart. So that's the best thing I can do with that. But I don't want anybody to be like super fearful as well, because I just want you to know, like, I'm there. Right? I'm totally there. So if there's any sort of really sly or sneaky crap that's happening, they will see me right there with you, because I will be, like, my energy is going to be triggered, because I really, 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 really want everybody to understand that we're changing the world here, okay? I'm high energy and I'm connected to every single one of you, and my whole goal and my whole purpose is to facilitate the transition from 3D to 5D, but not only that, but once we are in 5D, it goes up. I'm going to be removing 5D, and then, because everybody's going to be in 6D, and we're going to keep going until we've reached that babies are born in physical frequency level 11 plus. So that's basically what I'm here for. And I can't raise frequencies and I can't complete my purpose if I keep leaving my source fractals and my colleagues, my angels of light there and love. I can't do this whole dimensional shift stuff if our power is just being given to entities. So I just want you to know that on a strategic level, I'm with you. Because again, I need to fulfill my purpose. Otherwise it'll drive me absolutely freaking bonkers if I don't. And I always fulfill my purpose. Like, I always do. So, no goal that is not achieved. Oh, Susan, yes, I've done that, and I can pick up on the switch. Excellent, sweetheart. Excellent. But again, sorry. Oh, Starmac, you're welcome, sweetheart. Oh, no, loco. I have stopped them many times. Excellent. Keep going, because the more you do it, the more you raise in frequency, and the more it just like, it's fine. Right? For anybody who is interested as well, like especially Onaloco, Susan, Harenali, like, you know, if you you can put in a binding or a spell, like, remember that your guides are also your protectors too, at the same time in the ethereal. They can do just as much as what you give them, you know, permission to do, or I don't want to say permission, but what you give in terms of focus or command to do with your energy. What I did a lot of the times was I would actually call out to my fantastic team and my own energy and myself and everything like that. But the guides that were around me that were helping me and assisting me when I was going through this period of, you know, really having to deal with some really, really nasty entities. The fantabulous Lucas Tatenga Noah Haha Estasosotas. He's fantastic at binding. So what I did was I told him, I gave him the permission, and this is for everybody as well, who is around me, who's connected to me as a guide. I told them with my energy that you will have all of the energy you require in order to bind or silence or defeat or do whatever you feel is necessary to get rid of these entities for me while I'm raising in frequency. Because just because they were my guides, I was still the highest in energy, right? It was still my focus, my command that would utilize the energy. So they couldn't utilize my energy without my consent. So what I did was I just gave them consent to take what they need in order to defend or to do with what they needed to do. And this is what they did. They took my energy while I was sleeping. They would take my energy and bind the entities so that I would at least get some decent rest and I could have a clear mind and I could focus on what it is I need to focus on so I could progress going forward. So think outside of the box and just be like, how is it? Like, I'm here with my guide, I'm here with my higher self, we're a freaking team. How can we checkmate this bitch? You know, how can we do this? Susan, you say, I have told them if I'm under attack, they have permission to defend at any time. Wonderful. However, Susan, we have to think, we have to give Renly the ability to go around loopholes at the same time. Because if you're saying, I have told them I've given them permission to defend at any time if you're under attack. Now, that's only if you're under attack. That does not mean that they can still defend you if you have a whisper in your ear. So if your entity is not physically attacking you, but simply around you, and is triggering frustration within your energy, right? Not physically attacking you, but simply being around you, right? Then what are they going to do? So you need to get around that loophole. So the way I got around that loophole was I spoke the name of my spirits, or the spirit guides that I have. You got to speak their name. You have to invoke all of the power within them. And I spoke my name. I spoke all the power of my name and also felt my name at the same time. And I said that you will have whatever the power you require to do whatever you feel necessary at the time. You know, in order to, within love and light, right? For the greater good of love and light. So that covered all the things, because I know my spirit guides only deal in love and light, right? So as long as they're using my energy for love, then it's like, go do what you got to do. Covers everything. And so that was really, really nice, because that meant that they had full power to just remove anybody from my presence that was within a negative state of, who wanted to cause harm in any way, harm, confusion, mistrust, anything, any triggers, like, nah, I got the power to dead this off. So let's work on loopholes. Wonderful. I'm glad you will, my sweetheart. So that is what I got for you at the moment in terms of that. Do we have any further questions? If we got no other questions, then I think it's time for me to love you and leave you for today. I enjoyed the conversation. I'm waiting for some bits and pieces, but the next lesson, what was the next lesson that I wanted to do? Yes, the next lesson that I wanted to do was going to be all about health, your physical body, all right, and getting through the misconceptions and the confusion of the outside world versus the inside world. Because I was speaking to Kulipup today, and I was just saying, I'm like, you know what, it's such a shame because so many people shy away from this healthy lifestyle or health in general and use their blind ignorance when it comes to health. And I was just like, why do they do that? And it's because they don't actually know what it feels like to be healthy. You know, so many people, they think that having a salad with a side of lean chicken and salad and so forth, or the Atkins diet, or this diet or that diet, that's healthy, that eating only vegetables and salad, that's healthy. And the thing is, they don't enjoy it. And because they don't enjoy it, they literally they don't do it. So I'm like, people got to know what it feels like to be healthy. So we're going to talk more about the physical body and about health and about, you know, the gym versus natural ways of exercise and so forth. And you'll be surprised that you don't need to do very much to have fantastic results, right? So we're going to do that. Onaloco, giving my guides permission is what brought me back from when I went AWOL, right though? That's what I'm telling you, my sweetheart. I totally fully agree. Because if you gotta remember, you're a team. You're a team. Their energy is your energy. They are you. They want nothing but the best for you. So give them permission. Only when you know that who you are giving permission to. Please don't anybody be like, I give permission to my guides, but your subconscious may have convinced you that it is your guide, and then you're just like, I give permission to my guides. Now you've given permission to your subconscious to do whatever the frick it wants. Now, before you, just for everybody out there, Onaloco is a high frequency individual and can tell the difference between these individuals, or between these entities. So don't be given full permission until you can tell the difference between the frequencies of the entity versus your source fractal. Please. Please. And you know it's your source fractal because you have strong tingles in your heart and lovely feelings of warmth and goodness as well, where an entity doesn't feel good or brings pain. So listen to your body. Feel it. But anyway, that's going to be my next lesson. I love you all so, so very much. I'm going to be posting another post on my timeline where I want to ask you a few questions about what it is that you feel that you need support with or learning with, and a few other comments as well. I would love to know. For the ladies, I want to have a discussion between the men and the women here. For the ladies, I want you to tell me, or not tell me, but if you could give a message out there to a guy to help him to understand what a woman wants when he is trying to introduce himself, right? Like, how do you want to be approached in this new world with this new frequency? You know, how would you want to be approached as a lady? What do you want out of a potential suitor, right? Let's give these guys a little bit of information so that they can learn. We can teach them what it is we want as women. Because we can't be healing if we're not there. And I want to do the same for the men out there. For the men, tell us what would you like as an awoken man? How would you want a lady to approach you as well? Let's help some of these ladies out so we can understand each other, right? Let's help each other out. Oh, thank you ever so much, Vada. I'm definitely looking forward to the next class. I'm glad that you enjoyed the exercises for today. Elena, hello, my sweetheart. I'm actually getting off now. But Vada, thank you so much. Everybody watching, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. Please share it if you found that the information was useful, and so we can again help heal the world through our knowledge. Alrighty, check out my timeline for all the other bits and pieces. Love you. Bye, honeys.